So at the start of Wimbledon, I made some predictions going into the tournament, as I do with all the Grand Slams.
And I was doing really well at the French Open.
So let's see if I did any better or worse at Wimbledon. So we're starting off strong with Sabalenka, Gauff, 1 and 2 in the world. I'm going to go with Sabalenka to go further than Gauff at this tournament. So there you have it. Gauff lost in the first round in a major upset, and Sabalenka made it to the semi-finals. So that was a pretty easy one, especially on the grass. Sabalenka's done better on the grass than Gauff over the time, so I'll take that one. So the best of the qualies. This is a tough one because not many of the qualifiers that I would have picked have a good draw, but I'm going to go with Martic on the women's side. And I'm going to go with Mannarino on the men's side. So unfortunately, neither of those actually did any good. I mean, Mannarino did okay considering he was a qualifier, but Martic lost in the first round to Parry, a fellow qualifier, and Mannarino ended up getting to the third round, losing to Rublev in the end. So not a bad loss there, but I should have probably gone with Jarry. He was the big one on the men's side that made it to the fourth round. The country that's going to have the most wins, I'm going to go with America. There you have it. Nice work again, America. They've always got so many good players, though. You know, you got Fritz, you had Anisimova, obviously making the final. But they also do so well just getting to the third and fourth round. So it was pretty easy to pick America this time around, and they did the best. So the most aces. A lot of aces come at Wimbledon because the courts are so fast. I'm going to go with Sabalenka to hit the most aces on the women's side. And I'm going to go with Fritz on the men's side. So I wasn't far off with Sabalenka. She actually got the second most aces with 26 behind Towson. So had she have won against Anisimova and made the final, she probably would have made at least more aces than Towson. Fritz did hit the most aces, so I was very lucky there that he made it so far. I did pick him to go far as well, which we'll find out in a second. So the big one for the men, Sinner, Alcaraz, who's going to do better? I'm going to go with Sinner to do better than Alcaraz. So this was really close, and I know when I said this in the predictions, a lot of people were shocked that I picked Sinner over Alcaraz. But Sinner beat Alcaraz in the final. I didn't think that they'd play in the final. I thought maybe that Alcaraz would have a tougher match early on, and he did have tough matches early on in the tournament. I thought Sinner would make the final. Of course, he nearly lost to Dimitrov, but I'll take it. Over Alcaraz, I'll take it. Players that have an unseeded run, again, not too many massive unseeded players that have a good draw. That's the thing. On the women's side, I'm going to go with Eala. On the men's side, I'm going to go with Opelka. So unfortunately, Eala didn't beat Krejcikova in that first round, which might have got her to the third round, which could have been a nice little run. And Opelka, unfortunately, didn't do it too much better anyway, so should have gone with Norrie on the men's side. Norrie making the quarterfinals, of course, on the women's side. Sigamund doing well. Who would have thought that? So top 10 upsets. This one's a little bit tricky because on the men's side, there's not too many players that have a tough draw except for maybe Draper. And on the women's side, a lot of players have a tough draw, so you could pick a lot of players. But I'm going to go with Badosa on the women's side. And I'm going to go with Musetti on the men's side. Alright, so they both lost very early on, first round losses. There was a lot of upsets though on the women's side, so like I said, you could have picked a lot of players. Obviously, Gauff lost early as well, or Pegula even, you know, that was a massive shock early, but they were injured, so it was kind of a little bit easy to go for those players who weren't feeling the best. So dark horse run, I'm going to go with Samson over on the women's side. And on the men's side, I'm going to go with Bublik. So Samsonova did do well. She made the quarterfinals, so I'm going to claim that one. But Bublik, oh man, he lost in the first round. Nobody saw that coming, losing that early on in the tournament after what a great month he's had. But I'll take Samsonova. She made it far, lost to Swiatek in the end, and who ended up winning the tournament. So I'll take Samsonova. So Djokovic, Draper, who's going to go further? I'm going to go with Djokovic to go a bit further than Draper. Alright, this one wasn't really that hard, I guess, because Djokovic went way further than Draper. Draper lost in the second round, Djokovic making it to the semi-finals. I did kind of think they were going to maybe clash in the fourth round, and then we'd find out really who was going to be better, but, you know, I'll take the Djokovic pick because he did go further than Draper. Alright, so the big one. This is going to be tough, but I'm going to go with Sabalenka versus Paolini in one of the semi-finals, and I'm going to go with Pegula versus Raducanu. On the men's side, I'm going to go with Sinner versus Djokovic, and I'm going to go with Fritz versus Alcaraz. All right, so on the women's side, I got Sabalenka right. Palini unfortunately lost early. Pegula, massive shock early. And then Raducanu, she got replaced by Swiatek in the draw. And they were supposed to clash in the 4th round. That didn't happen because Raducanu lost to Townsend. But on the men's side, I picked them all again. I picked 4 and a 4. So I'm going to take that every day. Obviously, Fritz had his troubles early in the tournament, but I'll take that. 4 out of 4 for the men. And the winners of the tournament, I'm just going to go with the number 1 seeds. I'm going to go with Sabalenka. I'm going to go with Sinner. Alright, so Sabalenka wasn't far off, made the semi-finals, lost to Anisimova, and then of course Swiatek won the whole thing, who no one would have picked at the start of the tournament unless you're a Swiatek fan. And then Sinner, I know I got a lot of people commenting about why did I pick Sinner, Should have been Alcaraz, but I went with Sinner. I thought maybe because he won at the Australian Open, and a lot of players that win at the Australian Open do well on the grass, and he did do well on the grass and he won the tournament, so I'll claim that one as well. So there you have it. That is my predictions and the reaction to my predictions. Let me know in the comments below. How'd you do with your predictions? Of course, we're going to bring this back for the US Open in a couple of months' time. And I'm doing all right. The last couple of tournaments, I've done pretty well. I'm pretty happy with how I've done my predictions. Obviously, some of the smaller categories, not so much. But with the big categories, I'll take it all day. But there it is. They're my predictions for the Wimbledon tournament. And we'll do them again all at the US Open.